Everyone, we are going to present our macroeconomic assignments about no poverty. SDG Fund was created in 2014 to support sustainable development activities. The purpose of SDG Fund is aiding all the countries to overcome the global challenges and achieve their goals.
The first program created by SDG funds was strengthening women's ability for productive new opportunities at Bangladesh. The goal that involved in this program was no poverty, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, and reduced inequality. From the goal of this program, we can see that SDG funds are really emphasized in no poverty goals, as the poverty issue is getting serious in every country. Why is the poverty issue getting serious, Cameron?
Because the income gap among rich citizens and poor citizens become wider, where the poor citizen had reached the level of extreme poverty, and struggling the most basic needs such as healthcare, education, food, and sanitation.
Yes, yeah, right. True. That's the reason why SDG Fund they have set a 7 target for us to achieve by 2030. You ever heard of that goal, sir?
Yes, I have heard it. The first goal is eradicate extreme poverty for all people everywhere. The second is reduce at least by half the proportion of men, women, and children of all ages living in poverty in all its dimensions according to national definitions. The third one is implement nationally appropriate social protection systems and measures for all, including growth, and achieve substantial coverage of the poor and the vulnerable. The fourth is ensure that all men and women, in particular the poor and the vulnerable, have equal rights to economic resources, as well as access to the basic services, ownership and control over land and other forms of property, inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technology, and financial services, including microfinance. So, what is the rest of the targets, Jeffrey?
The rest of the target is include build the resilience of the poor and those in vulnerable situation and reduce their exposure and vulnerability to climate-related extreme events and other economic, social, and environmental shocks and disasters. Next, ensure significant mobilization of resources from a variety of sources, include through enhanced development cooperation in order to provide adequate and predictable means for developing countries, in particular least developed countries, to implement program and policy to end poverty in all its dimensions. Lastly is create sound policy frameworks at the national, region, and international level based on the poverty and the gender sensitivity development strategy to support accelerative investment in poverty eradication actions.
To our friends to explain literature review.
So for now, I have to present the literature review. The government have tried many attempts to reduce the poverty in Malaysia since Millennium Development Goals were introduced in 1970. Percent of household living reduced and reduced the number of living on $1 a day by 2015. Poverty will cause them will ill and malnutrition, as well as causing the children could not have the same opportunities as the children have the financial support. This will explore the children to abuse, violence, and discrimination. UNICEF organized the International Day for the Education of Poverty to help those who are dedicated to overcome poverty. Poor communities should be focused on enhancement of human skill, innovativeness, and knowledge of the poor in order to overcome poverty. Poverty reduction policies, Malaysia, trends, strategies, and challenge. Malaysia poverty is a real problem. We need to recognize that we are practical reason why we need to encourage the government to listen to poor Malaysian voice, and not just come up with an impressive figure. Malaysia still struggle on poverty line. 60% of the country still are living with less than 1,060 a month. This wasn't in rural areas of the country, whereas 85% were living with less than 1,016. The highest average monthly income is 4,000 and lowest income is 615. The researchers have conducted a combine of stimulation implementing each of the 4 individual tests. The poverty the rate among the families with children could be lower by 71%. The poor complement high school, work of full-time, married, and have no more than 2 children. There are 2 types of research methodology, which is primary source and secondary source. The researchers have decided to use secondary sources such as internet, books, and newspaper as a reference for us to make sure the research are relevant. The UUM facilities have give us opportunities to use internet. For example, the UUM library and every student lounge have provided us Wi-Fi access and the computer with very well functioning to let us do the research. The researchers have chosen the article as our secondary source from newspaper. The researchers could get to know more details of government latest as from to solve the poverty issue in our country.
Researchers analysis the data of the employment rate in Malaysia from 2030 to 2080 to measure whether Malaysia are in full employment or not. From the data, the minimum value of unemployment rate are 2.85% in 2040 and the maximum value are 3.45% in 2016.
Researchers decided to analyze the government expenditure in Malaysia from 2013 to 2015, how much they spent to reduce the poverty in Malaysia. The minimum amount they spent was 1 billion 7,707 billion the ringgit that they used to spend the poverty in Malaysia.
Now I want to talk about the third point is to prove Keynes poverty theory are applied in Malaysia. According to Keynes theory, from the idea of the economic theory of poverty, Keynes believe that government play a big role in providing public goods and economic stability. Therefore, researchers compare the unemployment rate and the government expenditure from 2030 to 2080 in Malaysia to prove whether Keynes poverty theory are applicable or not in Malaysia. Based on the data from 2030 to 2040, the government expenditure increased by RM 4.287 billion to reduce and cause the employment rate to reduce at the much as 0.45% from 3.3% to 2.85%. Next, from 2015 to 2016, the government expenditure was reduced by 7.148 billion, cause the unemployment rate increased again by 0.3%.
Furthermore, the government expenditure increased back as much as 12.32 billion, which is from 28,083 billion to 2,950 billion, helping the unemployment rate in slightly the government expenditure was increased by as much as 12.32 billion, which is from 2,083 billion to 2,950 billion, helping the unemployment rate to slightly reduce, which is 0.02% from 3.45 in 2016 to 3.42% in 2017. Last but not least, the government expenditure has increased rapidly from 2.95 billion to 3 billion 29 billion, in which it is needed as 32 billion comes. The unemployment rate has reduced as much as 0.1% from 3.42% to 3.5%. The analysis based, the researchers can conclude that the Keynesian theory are applied in Malaysia from 2013 to 2018 because based on the analysis, the relationship between the government expenditure and the unemployment rate shows that when the expenditure increases, the unemployment rate reduces, and vice versa.
We are give some suggestions to reduce the poverty. The first one is increase economic growth. Import decrease, export increase. The second one is encourage the domestic company to apply international organization for standardization standard. If all company apply the certificate, can encourage importer from other country to purchase more of domestic product. And the third one is increase in education opportunity. Build more education facility in rural area and give subsidy for them. The last one is reduce inflation. Reduce import goods, and government set a quota for import goods and give some subsidy to industry. And we will do more advertisement about reduction price of goods. We are made the conclusion. Researchers have three researchers objective here. User data of employment rate. Use the data of government expenditure in Malaysia, and the last one is use the data from the first and the second research objective, which compare it. SDG is created. Poverty issue has been reducing from time to time in Malaysia. Successfully created employment opportunity as much as the quantity of the labor supply in Malaysia. That's all of our assignment. Thank you.